programs only after 9.
Nice.
So
Okay.
till 8:45, I'm prepared. So 15
Nice.
minutes, I'll have a break between the next program.
Okay. So are we all above the line? Anybody feeling like they need to say something to climb that ladder to get on top while we begin? Any concerns that you've brought to this place that you want to park? Just leave them aside. Anything? The floor is open. Any concerns?
No issues.
No? Or do the concerns begin only after class? Okay, so here's just a gist of all the stuff we've done. And it's a lot, you know. I mean, 10 hours, it's a lot. We've covered a lot of ground. And just reading some of your journals. And by the way, I have 4 journals unread at this point in time because you sent them in the last 1 hour or so. Thank you very much. I will respond by tomorrow. So we've covered a lot. Most of your journaling gives me an insight into how it's affecting your work and your approach and the way you see the world, your audience, your children, your participants, your students. And it's heartening to know that these 2 hours are making a difference. And so just a quick reflective piece here. You will shortly, while I'm still talking, Chetan's going to send you a link. And what you will see is this. So when you click on that link, while you're looking at the screen right now, just choose a picture that expresses how you're feeling at the beginning of the 6th session. And you can then, when you click on that, just find that picture and type in anything that you want to say. Add your comments. If you're screen sharing now. You know what? I'm seeing the same number of people, right? So I think I'll switch the faces to this. Can't give me asking for
So for now, be here when you start sharing the message.
Yeah. Does anybody need a little more time? Okay. Switch. Shall I share my screen?
Sorry, guys. Every time we're in a new space, things move around in Zoom somehow.
Oh man. Okay. So whatever interventions we might have, whatever content we might have to. And just remember, the context is not just groups, it's also our own children. Okay? Okay, simple question, quick answer. 10 years from now, what do you wish to see your children as? And we're sending you a link. Just type in words. Think of the words that describe what you see or what you encounter. Is the question clear?
Can we say for ourselves?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to be? What do you
Because
see?
we don't have children.
I know you will someday, maybe. I don't know. But or you might.
So we'll say for ourselves.
Yeah, you can do that. What do you see yourself as 10 years from now?
So we have to type more words or one word?
You can decide as many words as come to mind. And I'll just give it another 30 seconds. So you have to be really fast with your typing. Okay? 5 seconds more. Okay, so I'll continue, and those of you who are still typing, that's fine too. You just keep typing. That's you'll notice that the screen keeps changing. Are you seeing that screen?
Yeah.
Great. So you'll notice that the larger the word, the more people are using it within the group. Okay, this is called a word cloud, just in case you don't know what it is and you might want to use it. It's a wonderful tool to use just to check in with your groups. So what we're seeing here is that what you want to see in 10 years or what you want to be, the most common word used is happy, independent, content, healthy, compassionate, and curious. And here's my question. Which part of what we know about life teaches us this? Which part of schooling covers this?
Okay, you want us to type it now again?
No, now we're just having this conversation.
Sure, sure. So Rishas, I think stories from my schooling, if I remember, it's the stories that we learn in, say, English class or in literature classes. It covers some of these topics to an extent.
Okay, so you're telling me that the story which ends with this punchline at the end.
Moral values. No, not necessarily moral values, but I remember in a proper English lesson touching upon these themes at different places.
Yeah, but did you learn it as value or did you learn it as English? Were you marked on it?
Yeah, there was obviously a marking involved, but yeah, but for me it was also value. Depends. It depends on the teacher, like how he or she brought it into life in the classroom.
Right. You see how important you are now in somebody's life? It wasn't the books. It's not the content you're delivering. It's who you bring into that classroom that becomes really important. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure this is philosophy. This is just straightforward. Hey, you know what? Don't forget who you are, because who you are walking into that classroom is what's going to happen. So I think what experiential methodology tries to do and brings attention to is the fact that only a conscious attempt to make some of these things happen will help those children be happy, content, compassionate, and whatever other words are being used. This is not an accident. I mean, where you happen to be today is an accident. If you came across certain experiences, if you met certain people and they said certain things and they behaved in a particular way and they brought you a certain self into that classroom, then you were just lucky. And no teacher is ever taught that you are an important person in that classroom. Nobody measures their being in a classroom. They measure content, they measure. I'm not sure what this whole, current teaching piece is all about. So what we're trying to do is, if we want to make classrooms exciting, I think we need to look at it a little differently. Okay. So we're going to do a quick breakout room thing. Okay. And unless we build the classroom as a community, now what does that mean? Community. We all have our own understanding of what a community is, but just remember that our classroom is not of one person. There's a whole bunch of students in it. And that whole bunch of students is a group. And the presence of any other one person in the group affects everybody else, or has the power and the ability to affect everybody else. So that group, over a period of time, if they are going to be together, they are going to form what we call a community. Now, no conscious attempt is made in most learning environments to build that group as a community. Okay, group and community are very different words. So you're going to go right or left? Okay, okay. So we talk about it as a thing, and that thing is all these different people and personalities in that classroom affecting each other, and it's like an orchestra. So each one is a different instrument, a different noise, a different sound, a different color, a different, everybody's different, and these people come together, and it's like an orchestra, like in music. So what we're going to do is put you into breakout rooms. I want you to have a quick conversation. And the question is, if you had to build a community, what skills do you think you want that community to have? So if you look at your classroom as a community, what skills do you want them to have? Is the question clear?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Just remember, same rules. Check your phone. Are we doing? Yeah, we sent you a link. We'll send you off into breakout rooms, and you're going to have How much time do you think you want?
Five minutes should be good, I guess.
Okay, let's try 5. If it doesn't work and you feel dissatisfied and angry at the end of it, for the next one, we will know that we'll have to increase the time maybe.
I think 10 minutes should do, Vishwa. That's
10
my
minutes?
thought. Yeah, because it's a bit community, it needs more discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so let's give it 10 then this time. Okay, great. We're not back yet.
About 60
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah. Okay, so can you see that screen? Yeah. So this is what we've got. So browse through that while the other groups get back. Common objective. Does a community have to have an objective? Sense of belonging, commonality, opportunity to learn and grow. Does a community need to have a common language or interest? Can it be varied? Would a community not be a community if it did not have, if the intent was only to have a community but not necessarily go in a particular direction? Okay, so I'm going to share with you the 4 elements that describe what it means to have a sense of community. And you know, I've told you this before, you already know everything that there is to know about it. It's just that I come along and I put it in a particular form, and hopefully that form then makes sense to you. Okay, so here are the 4 pieces, and you've used different words. If you all sat together and said, okay, what does that mean? You know, put all that stuff together that you've got, and a common word that jumps up is membership. And what does membership mean? Now, you got to remember, I'm going to just throw some alternate words which you've already used, but I'm going to club them together so you understand what membership means. If you feel like you want to take notes, you can do that. So alternate words that describes membership is a sense of belonging. And remember, we've encountered this word before when we spoke about Colin Beard's work, the 6 dimensions, that why does anybody want to be anywhere? And one of the key reasons is that they want to feel like they belong. So sense of belonging. Second is in the same context of membership is the hope that belonging or being part or being a member of a particular group or community would be an investment in oneself or investment of the self. So, for example, if we look at ourselves, these 20 odd people in this group, uh, why are we choosing to do what we are doing? And somewhere it will reach back to that one reason, which is that I'm investing in myself. I want to learn more. I want to belong to a community of experiential educators, maybe, or educators who think similarly. All communities at some point in time seem to draw boundaries, and they decide that some things are okay and some things are not. And that membership often, one of the results is that they draw boundaries and they say, okay, anybody with what?
Is it
Earring.
commitment, investment of self? Is it is it
No,
no, that's something different. Yeah.
no,
Okay. Something.
that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
Investment itself means I'm going to invest myself to become a member because myself is going to get
Ah,
something.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So all communities, all groups draw boundaries for themselves. Most of them are implicit. They're unspoken and usually emerge over a period of time. So somebody does something, and then the community says, "Hey, how does that work?" For example, during Diwali, if you're living in a society, there might be one family that comes down and bursts crackers, and everybody else is really conscious of the fact that we're polluting the environment. And nobody said anything about not bursting crackers. But the moment one person does, the community comes together and says, "What's our boundary?" Um, People also come there for that membership for emotional safety. Okay, critical piece. They feel safe in that space. They come there because they feel a sense of acceptance. And when they're part of that membership, they're also, they show a willingness to sacrifice for the group. So they're willing to give, they're willing to take. And sometimes they will also share common symbols. So you'll notice that, I know in Maharashtra, there's a whole bunch of people who used to go out on treks. And then 5 people got together and they said, let's go out for a trek. And soon those 5 people went for 3 treks. And then they said, you know what, we should have a flag. And we'll have a logo. And we'll have a symbol that expresses our common desire. And soon they became, they gave themselves a name. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm guessing you've encountered similar groups, but doing different things maybe. So this is part of an expression of that membership piece. Influence. What does influence mean? Members influence each other within that group. It's inevitable that this happens. That's part of what a community is. It's a bunch of people who come together, differences, similarities, yes, but they also exert influence on each other. Not only do individuals influence the group also has the ability to influence its members. If you have seen this movie called Jojo Rabbit, yeah?
Yeah, I've been.
Of what was happening there.
Yeah.
Community exerting its influence on Jojo and Jojo influencing his, in some way affecting some people within that group. Maybe not too many at that point in time, but you'll notice that there's a whole bunch of Jojo rabbits in the communities that we belong to. Members feel like they have a voice and they have the freedom to express themselves in a group. And the more that happens, the better the community is able to manage itself. Otherwise, one voice takes over, and that's what usually happens. And often, then many communities become dictatorships. And if they can't, then you have one or two or cliques, form and groups, subgroups form, and they exert pressure on each other, and then you have a whole bunch of conflict happening. And I'm going to kind of mention something a little later in the context of that. There is consensual validation. What does that mean? Members feel
Which was a doubt here, can I ask?
Yeah.
So conflicts are inevitable in any group, right? It is how we
Yes.
how a group manages conflicts that matters. We can't say conflict will never happen.
Correct. Yeah. So what we're looking at currently is, okay, what are the dynamics in a community? And conflict is one of them. It's inevitable. And it's inevitable. Conflict is not inevitable. Differences are inevitable.
Right.
How we choose to deal with them can either create or escalate or reduce conflict.
Right.
Yeah? Okay. So members feel validated when the group expresses consensus on issues. And if any of you have done teamwork, you've done team building workshops, this is classic. Something called, this thing is called group think. That somebody proposes something and everybody says yes, yes, yes. They don't necessarily mean yes, but they feel like there must be consensus before we move on. And if there's no consensus, then it's conflict. But absence of consensus is not necessarily conflict. So in experiential methodology, often one method we use to find out what the mood is I'm going to show it with my thumb, but we usually do it like this. So this means I agree. If my hand is down, it means I disagree. And this has a particular place and it means something very specific. It means that I don't agree or disagree. I will go with it and I will not jeopardize it. So I will not get in the way. So I may not necessarily agree with what you're doing or saying, but I have no idea right now. I'm still thinking it through, and I will go with what the group decides, but I will not jeopardize it. Okay? Very clearly, it means acceptance of current decision, but will not fight it. Okay? And we often ask people to express themselves, and they could be anywhere along this 180 degrees. And you can do it with the thumb as well. So even on a Zoom call like this, it's a method that you can use and say, okay, how's everybody doing? So using your thumb, please show me where you are. And you could be anywhere between this and this. Where are you right now with what's going on? There you go. You learn how to use it, right? Cool. Integration and fulfillment of needs. Anybody who's done anything around conflict will know that they use a very different language. So if you've done, anybody done NVC, nonviolent communication?
I have done.
Okay.
I'm beginner.
Okay. So in conflict, they usually separate two words, the meaning of two words, wants and needs. And they say that needs are universal. Wants are strategies to fulfill a need. So an example would be food. Okay. What is food, a want or a need?
Need.
Need.
I think it can be both.
No. It's a want.
Times.
Each is a need.
Okay. So food is a want. Food is a strategy to fulfill a need, which is nourishment.
Got it.
Interesting, huh? Okay. So the idea is not to go into that. Maybe conflict is another piece altogether. So let's look at this fulfillment of needs. What does that mean? When people join communities or become part of a community, is a hope that, or a feeling that members, that my needs will be met by the resources that the group has. Okay. Now, whatever that resources might be, it could be laughter. You know, there are laughter groups, and I want to laugh, and the group has the resources to be able to laugh unendingly in the park in groups, sit in circles or stand in circles doing their exercise and laugh, and they have the resources to be able to do that. And these needs might include membership, reinforcement. I have an idea and I want reinforcement, so I join a community that believes in similar things, and therefore that community then fulfills that particular need. Could be rewards, that if I join this community, then, so take sports, for example, the sports community. Can I play football without necessarily wanting to win a reward? Yes, I can. But somewhere along the way, you'll notice that most people meander towards, okay, the football doesn't become so important. It's the rewards, it's the golden shoe, it's the, FIFA Cup or whatever else. And it meanders towards that and people forget. And the reward itself could be winning, for example, and that fulfills some need in me. It could be rewards, recognition, status, possession. I'm part of an elite football club, or I'm part of, what is that, business community? BN,
BNI.
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 BNI. Yeah.
BNI. I've met a lot of people who introduce themselves as, oh, I'm part of the BNI West. Wow, great. I had no idea what that is. But for them, it was a really important piece. They were part of that business network. And that's a classic example of people forming a community, and they meet at an unearthly hour once a week or once a month. I think it's at 7 o'clock or something. Anybody part of a business network? No?
At 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah, there you go. 7:30 in the morning, because after that they go to work, but they meet and they have this conversation, they connect, they have coffee, they have breakfast, and then they take off again. That community, some need is being fulfilled. Okay. One of the big pieces is this. And there was, so I was working with an organization that had a very interesting model for, what is a team? And one of the core of being a team, there were 4 elements, and one of them was emotional glue. Okay. And what does that mean? There's something that holds people together, even in times of trouble. How I feel about the group keeps me in that space. I believe that the community has a history. Most communities have a history, or they create a history. And when I join a community, so if I choose to join BNI, for example, I know that BNI has a history, and there's a commonality now between what the community is doing and what I'm doing. Okay? It has its own stories. It meets at certain places. It conducts certain events. And all of that becomes part of that history. And I can often become emotionally attached to that. I'll give you an example. Those of you who've done, taken groups out done adventure programs. And in my earlier days, there used to be 5 days. And if you spend 5 days with a bunch of people in the outdoors doing crazy stuff, something big happens in those 5 days, okay? There's a huge emotional connect, because how long can you hide behind a facade? Up to a point, and then those 5 days are long enough. There's this magic number that after the 3rd day, something different begins to happen. And the risks that people take on the 4th and 5th day are far different from the risks they're willing to take on day 1. And that's a really interesting piece. And so if you've been on a trek, have you ever been on a long trek, more than 7 days?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, first 3 days are pure suffering, right? You wonder why you are there. I mean,
No,
what a crazy thing to do. You just take some load on your back and walk into the woods for what?
no, Vishwas.
Okay. Okay. I'm telling you my story. And I've gone out on treks for years together, and no matter how much I gym and how much I prepare for it, the first 3 days are torture. Something different begins to happen on the fourth day. And then that's when sometimes I feel I've moved from my grown zone to my growth zone. And that growth zone just widens and widens and widens because my consciousness changes, my moods are lighter, they're more playful, they're more joyful. I'm like, you know, I'm floating along on those clouds. So, and I'm in a much more vulnerable position in some ways, and I take a lot more risks with people. So here's one thought, and I stick to it even today, in spite of the medium we're in right now. If I had a choice, I would still take people beyond the third day, wherever. Because there's something about 3 days and nights you spend with a bunch of people. Day one is what the hell is going on. Day two is, I'm beginning to get a hang of it. Day three is, damn, now I get it. Why have I been stupid all my life? And day four is, let's rock and roll. And there's something about that time, and it's really wonderful. That's when the spiritual bonds also grow. So those of you who have used these words, this is the first time I'm using that word in this group. This whole spiritual thing, that's when something begins to happen that's way beyond our comprehension. We don't know why it happens, it just does. Okay? We get philosophic about stuff. We understand, we notice, we vibe at a very different level. Anyway, so these are the 4 elements that are really critical or describe a community. Now, why are we doing this?
Sidhu?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Vishwas.
Siddharth?
Sorry.
Sirichana?
Somebody's mic is on, no? Okay, no problem. I'm Sidhu for today. Right.
Sorry, my son is sick and I was just trying to check on him.
Hey, pay
Sorry
attention.
about that.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I was just having some fun. I'm in my rock and roll stage, remember?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but why? Why are we building this community? I want you to be able to look at the environments that we are in as a community. Okay? And I mentioned it earlier that a classroom changes the way it functions and the way it learns when it can begin to look at itself as a community. And therefore, these 4 elements are critical. And the question then is, how do I bring this about? I can't do it for somebody else. I can only play with the environment. Yeah? And how do I play with that environment? By being able to control only the inside. So what can I do? So this is something I want you to consider, that the classroom from here on is a community. Now, if our classrooms are these, what are we going to do? How do we build a sense of community? Okay, here are some other things that for me describe community. I'm just going to say them out for now. What does community building do? One of the ways it is described is there are no sides. People are not taking sides. You get that? There are no sides. There are no cliques and there are no subgroups. There are only differences in ideology, but people are not taking sides. Because that community, that sense of community holds them together. They have learned to have enriching conversations. there are differences and there is conflict, but they've learned to deal with it without bloodshed. And just remember, for a bunch of people to come to that place where they can look at a community like that, they didn't get there without struggle. Okay? And I think the most beautiful way I've seen it described is that a community is a group that can fight gracefully. Okay? If you want to take that down, do, because it's such a beautiful statement.
Can you please repeat it?
A
Vishwas?
community
State.
is a group that can fight gracefully.
Sure, sure.
Anybody done any rock climbing, wall climbing? 1, 2. You know, you should. You really should. Find an indoor wall. I'm sure there are walls wherever you are. And go and climb it. And when you go on that wall for the first time, it's like war. Your body is not used to it. It's a strange act. I mean, how are we designed to climb a wall? Gravity is sucking you down and you're fighting it. And that fight is one of the most horrendous experiences. Because it's a constant struggle. Your body is fighting the act of climbing up. You're grabbing on. You know what? What I'm trying to tell you is the first time you do it, it's one of the most ungraceful acts. But if you, okay, here's something you have to watch. Okay, it's available on, I think, Netflix or Free Solo. Amazon Prime, I think it's on Amazon Prime. Please watch a movie called Free Solo.
Yeah.
We'll probably send you a link or something like that where you can. Okay. You want to know what grace is in conflict, in the face of conflict? I see the act of climbing a wall as conflict. Okay, metaphorically. And it takes the same thing out of you. The higher you go, the more scared you are, the greater the possibility of falling. So the more, think of it, on parallel lines as a conflict. The more you talk, the deeper you get into this place of holding on to what you have, holding on to what you're afraid to give up. So on the wall, it's the higher you go, the more you're going to fall, the fear is greater, everything escalates. Have you felt that in a conflict conversation? Right? And at that point in time, to hell with grace. We forget it altogether. We become animals. And it requires something completely different at that point in time to say, whoosh, how do I find grace? Who is grace? I'm not talking about the girl. How do I fight gracefully? And a community is a place, a group that can fight gracefully. Okay, enough said. So I want to go back to that sentence. You know, those who have been required to memorize the world as it is will never create the world as it might be. And for me, when I was looking at that, this is what I was thinking, that the might be comes from what lies ahead, right? It's the future, what might be. It hasn't been created yet, but the potential exists. If we are now taking it back to the classroom, if we are taught to see content only in one way, okay, all of us deliver content of some kind, whether we are parents or educators. and we use that again and again in the same way we deliver. If we are taught to deliver content only in one way and not be influenced by the connections we make through our own personal experiences, we go through life, right? Now, if life's going on and I'm delivering the same content again and again and again, so this is static, this is dynamic, then we're not creating anything new. So as educators, if we can bring that personal experience and the richness of our experience to that, then what we deliver will never be the same. Is this making sense? And this includes conversations that we have with our children. Catch yourself saying the same things again and again the same way. The thing might be different, the kid's doing something, but we find the same answer. And that answer usually begins with a no or don't. See if you can catch yourself, because the moment you've done that, you go back, you in that moment of saying the no, you've gone back to what you know, and that's old. And that may not be true, and it's not even relevant in the present. This is that moment when we need to take that facilitator's pause. Take a deep breath in and say, whew, yeah, that's it. Push it out. Say, breathe, pause. What exactly is going on with me? And this is not about what new answer shall I find for the child. It will come. But we need to raise that pause, that breathing is an act of increasing the consciousness bubble. And you say, what am I doing? And you'll find another way. As educators, our role includes getting our groups to see the content and its relevance to their context. Our groups change every day. Even if you're walking into the same classroom with the same children, they've gone through life. The context has changed. It makes sense that we have to change the way we deliver content. Is this making sense, or am I just, this is not philosophy yet, okay? This is methodology. Okay. No, I'm just being a little conscious because I know I trip into that, that fuzzy-wuzzy world of philosophy. I just want to be conscious that I'm staying with something that can be applied by us on a daily basis. So, brain-body stuff. The more connections we can make for them through the way we deliver content differently, the more neurons are going to fire in the brain. Okay? More neurons fire, the greater the capability of neurons firing, because it's chemical. The more neurons fire, the more connections our audience is going to make between their current experience and their past experience and what's going to happen in the future. All we really need to do in terms of methodology is to do everything possible to get those neurons to fire. But if we deliver the same thing every day, our neurons are not firing. So how do we expect somebody else's neurons to fire? Which is why very often a teacher walks in and the children go, oh. Children, today we are going to do chapter 6, page 22. Oh. What if you walked in and said, What we're going to do now is not in any book. So if you're interested, pay attention. If you're not, go to sleep. It's okay. I tell you what, life will never be the same for you or for them.
Vishwas, I have one question.
Yeah.
When we talk about content, so if I, like you talked about the activity last.
She
Hello?
disappeared.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We were talking about pipes and marbles. So that's one game. There is no content in that content. So if I'm playing a game with them or activity,
Oh no, wait. There is content.
my briefing.
Do you remember the differentiation I made between goal and objective? Did I make it?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure.
Why are you doing pipes and marbles?
Because I want my kids to have a team building activity.
Oh, team building? What did you say?
So my kids have a problem that they don't have a good communication between them. They are not working in a team
You
together.
don't understand it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it has come through the school that we want to run it.
So what's your goal?
That I want them to complete pipes and marbles
No.
successfully.
Goal is effective conversations.
Yeah, that is me as an educator role. But then
Vishwas, could you repeat that? I couldn't hear that too well. Goal is?
Goal is effective conversations. I don't like the word communication. There are 4 words unless I have to, I won't use them. Communication, collaboration, cooperation, coordination. My
yeah.
face-to-face classes, these are banned words. You want more banned words? Now that you're talking about it, may as well say so. So communication, collaboration, cooperation, coordination. If you're telling me your story, use the word I. Should, must. If you haven't made a note, better make a note, because next time I'm going to say what? Okay, so goal is effective conversations. Objective is the brief for the activity. Objective is to deliver as many marbles or water or oil as possible into the bucket.
Yeah, so my question here is that I give the same briefing every time. I have my briefing in my head. I have my goal in my head. So when I go there, I just say the same briefing I say every time. Here, I didn't hit my neurons that much. For me, there was this activity. I went there. I gave a briefing. It's same like today we'll read chapter 2.
No. So what?
So I'm asking for myself how I can hit my neurons in the same activity. I know I have to give this briefing, either water or either I say marbles.
Got it. You want to build context.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to very quickly going to do this because this is out of syllabus. So but I'll just take two minutes for that. So here's the thing. When you want to build context, effective conversation is an act of putting a bunch of words and ideas together to deliver something to another person. Yes? I say something. The problem currently, as you stated, is that they understand something else. Then we have a fight. Okay? Now they're saying you want effective communication. Great. The pipes carry the marble. Okay? What do the pipes become in the context of conversations?
The holder, like the pipe is
The person, right?
Yeah.
What do the marbles become?
Our conversations.
What exactly is that?
That they should flow through the fight freely.
Words,
Words.
ideas,
Yeah.
thoughts, opinions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
What is the equivalent of somebody dropping a marble?
The words are not appropriate for that place, maybe.
Or that person didn't like the word. You pass the marble, which is a bunch of words, to me. I don't like it, and maybe it dropped.
Yeah.
Therefore, that string of communication or conversation with an idea or a thought behind it is not going to flow from one person in the group to another. What we've done very quickly here is built an analogy. Now, when you go out to them, you're not talking pipes and marbles anymore. You're saying, which word, oh God, we're going too deep into this. The word, so I could say, for example, that the marble represents the words that we really need to understand as a group. And I asked them to think of the words that cause trouble or create conflict. So next time that I drop the marble into the first pipe section, I say, okay, what's the word?
Some bullying word, maybe, if I can take it.
Punctuality.
Okay.
I'm dropping punctuality into the pipe. You get it?
Yeah. So, yeah, I get it. If I say punctuality, and
Try it next time.
yeah, actually, I like this idea.
This is just an example. And you can do this with almost anything. So all of us educators here, we've got to go beyond that pipe and marble. The pipes and the marbles are only tools of the trade. We need to build analogies powerful enough for people to understand it as we go through the game. So it's no more a game. They're no more talking about pipes and marbles. Then their language changes to, hey, you know what? I don't understand that word.
Mm-hmm.
Or I have a lot of trouble with it. Okay, what happens? So maybe you can move the marble up and down, and that's a movement of, okay, I don't understand the word, I send the marble back to you. There's a whole bunch of things that can happen.
So
Sorry.
yeah, so for me, I just say my last line. For me, new thing is that I can even play around my activity. I can use it differently.
You have to change the way you think about pipes and marbles. When those pipes stop being pipes and stop being marbles, then your life and their life will be different.
So I have to change. I need a broadened horizon. I need so many more ideas to understand what more I can do. Right now, I don't even know what more I can do.
I know. That's that first stage. I don't know what I don't know. That's okay. It's a good place. Now you know that you don't know.
Vishwas, I just have a question on that. I know we're going off topic here, but since you spoke about analogies, right? When we talk about, let's say, values with children, right? And when we draw analogies, where do we? I always have this fear of pushing what I think about a value or what I think a definition of, let's say, punctuality or compassion or empathy, right? And especially I see that happening more often when I draw analogies. So how do you sort of enable the children to internalize this in their own way? I mean,
Rule number one, remember, you can't. You can only do something around the environment. So here's a thought. Don't build the analogy. After you do something, ask them what it is similar to.
Okay.
And my guess is they will be able to tell you. Metaphors is a different workshop. I might be doing a 3x2, 6-hour session as an advanced piece maybe later on. Okay? but metaphors and analogies, what are they? How do we build it into our work so that it doesn't look like a pipe and marble anymore? Yeah? Okay, great. Can we move on? Okay. So we've established that our job is to do everything possible to fire off connections. Okay? I'm going to give you an activity to do now. Are you ready? Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. I just a couple of quotes, a little gyan before that. Okay? It's the opportunity to create conscious connections that helps people remember and absorb what they are learning. If you give the analogy, you're making the connections in your head, they may not get it because it's not their context. Okay? So Racy,
Yeah.
you can give the brief for pipes and marbles and then ask them this question: what is it that you as a group deliver on a daily, weekly, or annual basis? And it could be the exams, mind you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going there anymore. But you see,
Get it.
you
Yeah.
see how the connections fired in your brain?
Yeah, get it.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we want to be able to do. I did it for you in one sentence. You can do it too. And our job is to fire up connections, because the moment you do that, they're now thinking about it. What is it that I do? Yeah, write my exams. And then you can take it further. Okay. So the purpose of schooling should be to develop intelligences and to help people reach vocational blah, 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 blah. Just read that and you can read it again later. Okay? So here's my contention. The problem is not about the pipes and the marbles and the textbooks and the furniture and all that. It's how do I get my group, my children, my students to see value in what we are trying to do for them. And I think that's the biggest challenge. Okay? And this is a long journey. This is not, it's not like that. It's a longish journey. So let's just stay together on that one. And we're going to do something around social emotional learning. Just remember this. All the things we want our children to be most often have a social context. You know that word cloud you created? What was the biggest word? Happy. Happy has a context. That context is social. Contentment, social context. Everything seems to have a social context. We don't live in isolation. I'm just going to take a line from Jiddu Krishnamurti's work. To live is to relate. There is no scenario where we are alive and we do not have a relationship, which means that everything then is really around relationships. Whether you're delivering a software project or you're trying to pass an exam, building relationships with our environment, the people, the teacher, whoever else. Another movie you must watch, and I know you have, but I want you to watch it with new eyes, is Munna Bhai. Munna Bhai MBBS.
Hmm.
Brilliant movie in the context of this particular thing. That guy's trip is just, building relationships. Okay, I'm tripping. I don't know how deep to go into this. We're already 1.5 hours into this, and I want you to have an experience this time. So I'm going to push some stuff that I was planning to the next session. Okay, so some of this stuff will come to you, and this is your homework. Okay, the slides will come to you. And the beauty of this model is you can design your entire life around something like this. How will you create experiences for your groups so that they become self-aware? And mind you, the big piece in this is the reflection piece. Nobody wants to be self-aware. Okay? Self-conversations are hard for most people. But relating to society and our environment is an act of self-management. If I don't know I use bad language, how am I going to be able to do anything about it? You know what I'm saying? So the self-awareness is the beginning to self-management. If I can manage myself better, then I can begin to look at social awareness. How do people talk to each other? How do I talk to them? Listening to perspective, the ability to listen to people, the ability to get people to listen to you, understanding norms. You go to different countries or different social strata and you do different things. How do I build relationships? And what emerges from an awareness of these four is responsible decision making. It's a beautiful model to work around. I had an exercise for you. And this, we are not doing as mentee, this is homework. Okay, this is your homework. How many of you have submitted homework of last time? Are you aware that you have not? Or you have? So I could process this, I could get you to reflect in the context of, okay, when you did the journaling, for example, what did you discover about yourself?
Vishwas, if I may, can we have a 5 minutes quick break? It's getting a bit heavy.
Absolutely. So gather your paper and get ready for the activity which is going to come next. Please take a break. 5 minutes.
Sure.
I'm here. If anybody wants to ask or tell, feel free.
Vishwas, I want to ask.
No activity.
So the question is, what should you ask yourself about whether your approach includes any of these elements? Which elements which you were talking about, which we discussed?
Who is this?
Racy.
Oh, Racy. Okay. Okay, the question was, okay, that's in the context of community, right? Racy? Put your video off.
Wait a second. Yeah, now can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Have you gone underwater?
No, I'm here. Hello.
Okay. So Are you talking about the 4 elements that describe a sense of community?
So I just want to check. So the 4 elements you said were content, conflict, all those things.
Ah. Yeah, go on.
So I have. So you wanted to say that. So I have only 2. Actually, I missed something or I don't know. So I have as a community the group that fights gracefully. That is one thing.
Yeah. Oh, you want me
And
to repeat that? The 4 reasons, are you saying 4 reasons for building community? Poor thing, just when she wants to talk, her connectivity gives up.
hello,
Yeah.
can you hear me now? I changed my connection.
Yep.
Yeah. So here the question is whether your approach includes. So these are the approach which we talked about when we were in our breakout rooms.
Yeah.
Like I follow them or not.
Okay.
So this is the question. In my life, do I want to follow or which I have already like which I do right now?
Neither. I'm just saying, uh, in your opinion, if you want to create community, what are the critical pieces?
Okay. I might not be following that, but these things I want. Uh, I get it now. And there was one more thing I wanted to ask. While I was seeing the last sessions video, there was this piece on feedback which you said that there is
Immediate,
nothing called. Hello?
immediate feedback.
No, you said that there is nothing known as a constructive feedback.
Correct.
Yeah. And then that you don't take feedbacks from your groups.
Correct.
But what if we are working in a company which works on feedback and we are always on the radar that if whatever we do will affect the feedback.
Okay.
So because of I think that your performance alter when you know that someone's gonna write a feedback about you. Like if I am handling a group or I'm taking a reflection or I want to do it in my way, which is little different.
Got it. Is that what you want to do?
So here, there's this problem. You suffer from a dilemma that you want to do something, but this thing in your mind, if you'll do this way, the feedback will affect. So that
So,
feedback is always in your mind.
yeah, you got to decide whether that's what you want.
It's your work. If the feedback will be bad, you're out of it.
So,
Then I have to find new
didn't I tell
job.
didn't I tell you that you have to get sacked at least once in life?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's very
You see, think about this. Your job is to take people through an adventure, yes or no?
yeah.
You think you do great adventurous things, right?
Try to.
Let's just say they're great and adventurous for your group.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah.
When will you ever become adventurous about your own life? And the problem with outdoor educators, adventure educators, is this. I hang you off a cliff without any ropes, you'll be willing to take the risk because you think you are safe. Your risk taking is high on the physical. The moment I ask you an intellectual question, switch off.
Yeah, I'll say true. That's true.
When are you going to take this social risk?
And then there's something So I'll say that you are working in a system, you're working in a company, and there's a people who have a lot more experience than you in physical. They might not have experience in experiential, but physical. And in maybe in outdoor, physical experience counts more than a person having a experiential experience.
That's the
So
problem with the industry.
so you get stuck there when you
Stop. No, you don't need to get stuck there.
it takes courage to stop.
And all those kids who come to your camp, you want to teach them courage. Get
Yeah.
off the edge. And
Yes.
you're not willing to do it.
That is the problem I'm dealing with, the
Good.
dilemma.
Deal with it. Have fun. Take some risks. Get sacked. Cry a little. All is wealth.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that valley you went to? I always forget that name.
Okay, let's move on. You ready?
Yeah.
You got your paper? We're going to put you into breakout rooms. You're going to have a conversation. And then one representative from each group will be given 1 minute on camera, okay, to build or to do whatever the group has decided that it will do. Are we clear on this? So you have a group discussion for 5 minutes. Then we come back to the big room, and one of those people from each group is going to be given 1 minute to perform the act. Clear? My timings may be a little off in the text. This is your task. I'm changing that 10 to 5. And when we come back to the big room, those 4 people will be doing it by the clock. 1 minute. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay? Are we clear? Any questions? Ask them now. Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Four rooms.
4 rooms. Yeah.
4 rooms.
You cannot use any other material like to stick
Then what?
anything.
That's it. Okay. I understand that's a statement, not a question, so we'll move on. Go. Okay. Who are the 4 builders?
Kabir
Rajat?
from us.
Huh?
Kabir from our group.
Okay. So just remember, you got to start from scratch.
Right. And it's Monica from our group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lost.
Prajakta, Monica, Kabir, and who?
Preeti is from our group.
Preeti. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. It would be great if you can tilt the camera or whatever to what you're doing. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Preeti, Prajakta, Monica, and Kabir, your time starts now. You got 2 minutes.
Come on, Monica, you can do this for us.
Yes. Go, Monica.
Good luck to everybody else too.
Yeah.
At the end of 2 minutes, it has to be standing, okay? And then we'll count till 10. At whatever stage it's at. Where did Pinky disappear?
The moment I tilt my laptop camera, it kind of switches off.
Okay, don't worry about it. Just do your tower.
Yeah.
Is there a timer? Okay, 40 seconds. Oh, that's your timer, by the way.
Oh, look what she's doing. Mama, just see how much she worked on.
Oh, no problem. We gave a good attempt.
Okay.
So, Kabir, you're doing great.
Time up. Wherever it is at, leave it as it is. Okay. Kabir, your tower has fallen. Projecta is still building. Contract is up. Monica's tower is the only one.
Kabir's star is standing.
Mine is falling.
Okay. Kabir, can you measure it? Monica, can you measure it approximately? Okay.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I'll measure it. Also, it's 6 and 6, 12 and 18 and minus 21 inches.
Okay.
It is almost.
Hello, completely. Okay.
Monica? Kabir, you're going to get is you going to the shop next door? Kabir.
Not sure if anyone knows what is the A4 format. I have 3 floors.
11 inches.
11 inches, so I have 11, 11 and 33 inches.
Wow.
Wow.
Mine is
No
32.
standing.
Mine is 32.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
Okay. Oh, that's 8 into 3. Okay. That's the width, right? Okay, great. So here's my question. You know, we've got only 10 minutes left officially, right?
Right.
Leave after 10 minutes. I'm so sorry, but I don't know. Okay, so look at those. By the way, you see my screen?
No.
Oh.
Your screen,
Give
no.
me a second. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question. It should have been the other way around, okay? Goals were brainstorming, ideation, creativity, differences. Objective of the activity is to build the tallest tower. How many of those goals were satisfied?
So Vishwas, in our group, I came with one idea, but it was very rough, very crude. And then Monica built upon it very well. And rest of us agreed, like we had some other ideas, but the time was too less. And we saw that Monica, she was demonstrating it was working. So we went ahead with what she had. It was more like there are others all were very happy that Monica got it right, and there was not much of a discussion that happened.
Okay, so would you say it didn't offer enough what you're telling me is not enough time for ideation.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. But do you think
5 minutes.
creativity, so there were no differences?
No, there were no differences. It was one idea building upon the other, and we went ahead with what.
Okay. What
At the
about the
moment
other
we
group?
came to know she had a great idea. We were like, okay, Monica, you do it. Enjoy yourself.
You just kind of passed it on to her.
Yep.
Okay. Kabir.
In our group, Kabir's group, he demonstrated. So Kabir came up with an idea, and so he was demonstrating how he could do it, and then Rishi had an idea. So it was kind of, we put the two ideas together. So there were no differences really, but it was just brainstorming and everybody trying to come up.
In fact, idea was different, but we didn't take it to conflict. We combined it. Yeah, we dealt with combining it.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems better, because if I had given you 10 minutes, maybe we would have had conflict. Yeah, that's the funny thing about us, right? We don't, we don't necessarily look at a difference as conflict, but difference is potential for conflict.
True.
Yeah. True.
We don't want to address differences. We walk away, and exactly as Shweta said, yeah, there were differences, but it wasn't conflict. I agree with you. Why not? Because somebody gave up, or somebody clenched their fist. Yeah, and these are things that happen in all groups. So very typically, this is an example of an activity that you can do, and you can ask questions. So I'm just trying to demonstrate to you how an activity on screen might run. Here's my next question. What is there to learn from an activity like this? How could you use it?
Vishwas, I have a different take on this. I am a person who's not very comfortable with crafts. So I feel that there is an element of talent that comes in. They say in the group, we have people who are very good with papers, folding and all that. They get a very unfair advantage.
Wait. Careful. You'll be an unfair advantage.
Yeah, because they're familiar with the whole process, right? Like they know how to do well. Compared to others who might struggle a lot and they may not really enjoy the activity. Activity should not challenge people too much.
So
it should be like, it should maybe be like everyone must have the same, I don't know, I was thinking like everyone must be at the same level when they do the activity.
Jeevan, where have you ever seen such a thing true?
Vishwas, I would like to say something here.
Yeah.
I use more of crafts. I make more of crafts. I use new papers, any kind of papers or anything. But when you gave this activity, I went blank. Nothing went in my mind.
Jeevan, unfair advantage.
Yeah, got it.
He could very easily say unfair disadvantage. You should have given me 5 hours. I would have built the biggest, tallest tower in the whole world. So here's my point, Jeevan. No matter what you do, some people will. Here's the other thing. She knows the material, but for her, maybe the social and emotional thing went up. You know the equalizer?
Yes.
Oh, great idea, but how will I share it? What will they think of me? Because it's a stupid idea. They may say it's stupid. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is, and what is it you want to do? Make things equal?
No.
Got it. Okay, I don't need to go on. Got it. Yes, Monica.
I just wanted to bring, because hearing what my team shared about the activity itself is quite interesting, because someone else totally popped out the idea, which was not mine, which saved the tower. And, and the perception of the team was that everything was in my hands. I don't think this activity has much in common with arts and crafts. I would rather say it's just a matter of innovation, experimentation with the paper.
So which means that anybody would have been able to do it. If I had given it to you as an individual activity, what do you think would have happened?
I think just the ideas would be limited. As we were in a group, the perception of everyone was very different. So someone pop out like, how you did the roll. So someone explained, oh, put a blank piece in the middle. It will give the base. So all these things together with all the experimentation and minds flowing with all the brainstorming created what we achieved. It would be way harder for a single one because I would never come with the idea to put something in the middle.
Right. So here's the thing. You know, you know what's going on, right? We want all these 20 children in the classroom to have a tower that is the same height.
Yeah.
That's what schools are doing. But we are different people. We want all the children in every subject to get the same amount. Not possible. There is no such thing as equality on this planet. There is no such thing. There's nobody equal to anybody else. And I think when we walk into a classroom with that in mind now, the other side is, as an educator, how do I learn to appreciate difference? Which means that somebody who makes a 3-inch tower is equally capable as somebody who makes a 23-inch tower. But the problem is I begin to measure the height of the tower. Can I just see a tower and say, hey, make a tower? And you made it the tallest that you could. But if I said the tower has, in school what we do is we say the tower must be at least, now taking it to marks, the tower must be at least 35 centimeters tall. And your objective should be to make it 100 centimeters tall. Okay, so here's the analogy. I don't know if you noticed that I built it as we talked. That the tower is performance. You get it, right? I don't need to, okay, great, super.
Vishwas, maybe you can spend some time on the analogy, like tower is performance and you are trying to share something.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I told you that's the 3-week class, man. Okay, so if you tell me what business you're in or what you do for a living, then I'll try and build an analogy. Okay, let me just do it across groups. If you're in a corporate, anybody in corporate here? If it's not relevant, then I won't do it. Okay, no corporate. We are NGOs. Who are you
Yes.
guys? Okay, NGO. Here's the NGO analogy. The tower is community. Have you got it? Or do you want me to go into detail?
Yeah. Got it.
What are the pieces? So each paper represents something.
The community.
Yeah. Now, the vertical has a different function in community. The horizontal has a different function. I'm just looking at Monica's tower, right? So what's the base? I'm just going to play with this, okay? But don't take it as God sent, because you want an analogy, I'm giving it to you, but this is what you would get your group to build. So the base might be purpose and intentionality. Why are we doing what we're doing? Because if we don't have that, then what are we going to build the tower on? So what do we need that has the ability to fall apart easily? That's my first vertical. So relationships. What shall we build on relationships?
Trust. We should build trust.
Okay. How shall we, okay, on relationships, we build trust. What can we then put on trust?
Action.
Performance. I trust that with a bedrock of intentionality and investment in relationships. Go on, you tell me what I just said now.
Investment in the relationships and the trust, because of it, we will deliver or we will meet that particular need as community.
Performance.
We'll perform.
What will performance get us? That will be stable.
Results.
Learn.
Yeah, so performance will give us the results.
On so if you get results, what will you get? That will stabilize it.
It will meet the different needs of the community for development or
Contentment.
Okay.
A stable community.
Contentment.
Livelihood.
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 You can go on. Can we move?
Yes.
Okay. Is this useful? So,
yes, Vishwas.
Yes.
So do this and let me know where you are with this analogy building stuff.
Yeah,
You made a very
Sorry, Steven, go ahead.
Well, sure. I want to see all the thumbs, man. Keep them out there because I've got only 2 eyes and I can look at only one person at a time.
So Vishwas, I really appreciate what you meant about us not treating things equally, understanding the diversity in a classroom. That is a big shift in perspective. And I was thinking of the same, like, are they equal? Are they all equal and equal activity? That causes a lot of confusion.
Ask some of these mothers and fathers in this room if they've got 2 children, whether there is equality there.
My kids are north and south.
They usually are. Okay, good. So one of the bedrocks when we are doing of community building are these 5 elements. SEL has become a huge thing in the US. It's part of all curriculum. You can use this to design, you can use this to think, you can use this to challenge yourself. Am I doing anything around self-awareness with my groups? Am I asking them questions in the context of whether they're aware of themselves? Am I asking them questions in the context of managing oneself? How do they think they're managing themselves? And so on, and you can go through that entire thing, okay? There's a lot of material to read. I just want you to be aware that this is one of the most beautiful models, and Laurie Frank created a work, what she calls play with purpose. So when you do an activity, if you want it to be purposeful, do you know which skill, life skill, you're designing for? So an example of those life skills would be, where is that? Did I miss it? The activity, right? The goals. Your life skills could be self-esteem, team building, decision making, planning, and so on and so forth. Okay, so please take a look at it. It's called the PWP Organizer. It's in your folder. Ideation, life skill, creativity, life skill. It gives you a long list of things. Very often we just go out there saying we want to do team building. Have you ever seen a team?
Is that a question? Have you ever seen a team?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a team?
A team.
You're seen in sports and all, right? The Indian
Really?
cricket team.
Really?
Like it's
Okay, here's my question.
I have seen football team, cricket team.
Have you ever seen it function? I'm not talking about the noun, I'm talking about the verb.
Now, what is the
Ever
verb
seen-
mean then?
Have you ever seen a bunch of people behave like a team?
Now, what do you mean by a team when we talk about verb? What are the
I
functions?
thought you knew what a team was.
For me, a team is a people working together for a common goal and share qualities.
Really? Okay, great, wonderful. Thank you for the definition. I'm just going to run through this.
Vishwas, I just have a doubt between self-management and social awareness. Isn't self-management also come from you adding a layer of external context of how you sort of behave in an external context? How do you differentiate that and social awareness?
Self-management is self-awareness coming alive.
Which means when it manifests into action, or
let's just say I become aware of the fact that I have a very quick temper.
okay.
Self-management is finding the ability to manage that.
Okay.
So take a deep breath, go hit a punching bag, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's something that I do for myself in the context of my awareness about something.
About myself. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the team. Two critical pieces about any group or team. And I'm just, so we used the word community earlier. Now I'm using a different word and I'm saying a community, if for some of you it sounds really romantic and fuzzy, and you like a corporate word, here's the word, they call it team. Okay? Same thing. Here's another way of looking at it. What was the question here? Do you remember? Okay. Here's my question. All of you at some point in time have taken on a new job or joined a new school or gone into a new environment to do something, right?
right.
Right. I want you to go back to that moment and use your annotator and put a heart on any word that describes how you felt. Just put a heart. On that first day, first hour, whatever. New college, new school, new job, whatever. New country, whatever you remember. First response, remember that. Okay, great. So now, so you're actually defining the model, but I'm gonna expand it for you, and maybe you'll change your words. So here's the thing. Okay, day one, hour one, or whatever of your encounter with that new space, new job, new school, new college. Yeah, I'm sure you were all that. The question, I wonder whether your needs were met. So here's, did you go through an orientation?
Yes.
Yeah. Most orientations are at this level.
Yeah.
There's the coffee room, there's the loo, these are the corridors. You can open that door and you can't walk into my cabin or whatever. Okay? Great. So here are some stages for us to consider, and I particularly like this model because it gives us very clear directions as to what you can do, and you can also diagnose the situation. And this is true for individuals as well as organizations, true for personal relationships as well as. Did you know why you were there? And don't give me that answer of to do a job. Did you know what your job was? Very few people know. मेरे बापू ने कहा तो मैं जा रहा हूं. नौकरी चाहिए, पैसा चाहिए तो जा रहा हूं. If these questions are answered, this is what you get. I'm going to leave this to you for homework. I don't know if that is fair. Is that okay with you? Because I know we got only 10 minutes really. Didn't you want to know other people? Was there a formal process that introduced you to others? Do schools do anything formally to get children to know each other? Even organizations don't. They will do a team building workshop after you've been battered and bruised by other people, or you've made some friends and some enemies.
Vishwas, my question here on sharing and trust, that takes some time, right? It doesn't happen in an orientation itself. It's like after 1 month, 2 months, or even maybe after 3 months, it happens. All we can do is make people feel comfortable to some extent.
Yeah, but if we don't do this to get them to feel comfortable, the chances of building trust are even less. Okay, here's the other word I ban in my own work. I don't know what trust means. And I don't know how to develop it. I know that so one of the connections to trust is acceptance. And to accept somebody, I need to know their story. Who are they? Where do they come from? What's their background? What's their training? We think of trust as one of those romantic, things. I know you for 2 hours. Arey, you don't trust me yet? Most people don't know what they are doing till for months together. You ask them, what are you doing? You ask your children, yeah, when they come back from school, what are you doing in school? Nothing. Apathy. Most children are apathetic to what goes on in school. They don't really care. Because nobody told them. The only answer they were given is so that you pass your 10th exam. I didn't get a chance to put the module myself with you. Okay, there's some. Yeah. So there's a little glitch in that. How will we do it? Imagine a ball, okay? You throw it on the ground and you get it to bounce. Or what they call where the rubber hits the road, that place of most friction is commitment. Most projects jump into implementation first. Think about how you tackled the tower. Karna kya hai? That's the most important question in life. What are we supposed to do? And then we jump into implementation. We've done none of the other stuff. And which is why we hit a roadblock during implementation and then go through cycles and iterations of trials and errors, because we believe that till you start doing anything, you can't really figure out. Most teams begin their task at the implementation stage. Nobody has asked any questions before that. Who are you? I'm supposed to build a module with you. I'm supposed to work with you in the community. Where do you come from? What is your background? What do you value? If we can go through that stage, those first 4 stages, 5 stages, then we might get here. So here's what I want you to look at. If you find people going through burnouts and disharmony and overload, it means certain things. Okay? So let's take another one. Most team building workshops are done for this particular one, mistrust. Do a trust building. I'm sure you've been asked to do, those of you who do it. And you'll hear this drop out of everybody's mouth. They don't trust each other. Why should anybody trust anybody else? We don't do anything concrete to get people to know each other, to invest in relationships, to invest in how people talk to one another, how people listen to each other. Why should they trust each other? So this is just an example. Even within families, why does a parent not trust the child? Because that child keeps changing. They want the child to be the same. Whoever you were such a sweet kid when you were 5. What happened to you? Now you've become the devil. And if we don't move as parents in questioning this, who are you on a daily basis? What's driving you today? If I don't ask my son that, and I may not ask it in exactly those terms, but there's other ways that I say, hey, what's up? Or what's up? Isn't that how they say it? What's up? What's up, dude? What's up, bro? If I don't do that, I'll never figure out this. And this is going to constantly change. And if there's mistrust, you will have a facade. They will show one face to you. All serials are based on this. Yeah, I mean, I hope you learn to look at serials in a better way, you know.
Yeah.
There's some Marathi serials that are going through this twists and turns of this facade thing. What is that?
I don't know. You guys watch it. I haven't seen it. Amanu.
8:30.
Agabai Sasubai, it's called.
Agabai Sasubai.
Agabai Sasubai.
Please watch that if you know Marathi. And don't worry, in your language, there's something exactly like that. Any serial is based on applying and using facades and caution to get what you want. Organizations do it, institutions do it, schools do it, parents do it. Let's get on with life. Let's start asking this question, who are you on a daily basis? So I used to have a friend who used to ask me every morning, hey, what's floating your boat today? What floats your boat today? I had no idea why he used to ask me this. I thought it was one of those, the American thing, how you doing? First time I went to the US, I actually turned around and said, oh, I'm fine. By then the guy had already gone past. He wasn't, he was just saying, hello, good morning. Maybe that's how they do it in that culture. And here I was, oh, you're asking me, you don't even know me, but you're asking me how I'm doing. Oh, I'm doing wonderfully well. I want to share my story with you today. He was gone. If we can do some of this, go through it. We'll talk about it next time. I will not push you anymore. If there's anything else you want to say or ask, go ahead. Those who need to go, please run away, eat well, drink a lot of water, wash your hands, wear your mask. Have fun.
Thanks, Vishwas.
Thanks, Vishwas.
Thank you, Vishwas. Thank you, group.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Have a nice weekend.
Start making
Have a nice weekend.
Everyone, bye.
One last thing. Please make groups and start conversations.
Yeah.
Don't wait for me. Google Classroom allows you to do that. You've got Zoom. Just get onto it and have these conversations. If you want me to throw some tough questions at you, I will.
Okay.
And we're adding you on Slack tonight. Monica, you're the first one. Have fun with it. Okay?
Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah. I'm here. If you want to stay on and ask.
Yeah, so it's about the trust building thing. You are talking about in normal day-to-day life how we build trust with our colleagues
Hey,
and everything.
hold on.
Hello.
Can we give airtime to somebody else today?
Okay.
I'll stay and answer your questions afterward, but if there's anybody else who has anything. Okay, Racy, shoot.
Yeah, so when we talk about trust building, here the whatever scenario you gave a day-to-day scenarios, like how we treat our colleagues or our. But when it comes to your group, which has trust issues, so how you gonna solve it just in 3 days or 4 days? You are not there to teach them that team building requires trust building as well. And you have not gone through all these processes earlier. Now they want in 3 days that we do that trust building.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think anybody really expects there to be trust in 3 days. Okay?
Yeah.
First of all, don't start believing that it is possible. Trust is a long-term investment. Our job, so let's take the SEL model.
Hmm.
Our job is to create, step number one, self-awareness about the fact or to discover whether trust exists or not.
Like
That's the
if
first thing.
this, okay, I go through that. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you know what? That'll take you 3 years. So we do everything, all the activities we do, the questions we ask are about how much trust they were able to show.
Like I give you a common example and how it troubles me. Like we talk about rock climbing, blindfolded rock climbing. In this, we say the kid is going and the person is trusting the other kid. So here, only two people are involved.
Hey, Raisi, that's a wrong connection altogether first. Just because I'm holding you up with a rope does not mean that you necessarily trust me. You might be trusting the rope. You may ask me 500 questions about the equipment before you start climbing.
No, I'm talking about a kid who is blindfolded climbing and the other kid who is trying to help that person.
Yeah.
So here we are building a trust.
You should come with me on one of these rock climbing blindfolded things. Okay, so here's the proposal. Next time you have this pair, okay? This is what I want you to do. The person who's standing down there, tell them you cannot talk.
And the person is blindfolded who is climbing.
Does the climbing.
How are they going to communicate?
You see? You see, you're already hitting a wall. You tell me how they. I am down there, you're climbing the wall.
Yeah, but this is how we have been doing, Vishwas. What I'm asking you, it's a very.
So, what do you want me to do? Then go do.
No, then I'm asking you, then
Yeah.
why?
So,
I'm
here's.
not.
Lacey, we're going to play this out. You are the climber, you're blindfolded, you're roped in, you're harnessed. I'm waiting down there.
Yeah. So now I am expecting you to tell me the route.
Why?
That where should I?
Okay, so go ahead. We're doing a role play.
Okay, so I'll ask you. Okay, I'm standing. Where should I go? Direct
Where do you want to go?
up.
Go up.
How? Where? What should I hold?
Okay. How will you find out?
By feeling.
Good. Go ahead and feel. Did you find?
And I feel. Yeah.
Good.
Tell me next. Hold. Hold. Where should I hold?
Did you find it?
I'm finding everything myself. I'm feeling and finding. What is your role then?
My role. Please tell me what my role is.
You have to tell me the route.
And that is going to build trust?
No.
Good.
I thought you'll tell me some way how it is building the trust. That's why I knew it's not building trust.
I know. But I trust that you know how to find your way.
Yeah, but I thought you give me another vision of seeing this activity where I can see a trust building. This,
isn't that funny? I'd love to, but you didn't ask me.
Okay, here's my right question. Tell me another scenario where I can use trust building in this activity.
We already played that game.
Oh, analogy.
This is the problem. We believe that trust is formed by constantly yak, 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 yak. I can start the whole thing by saying, hey, Racy, you know what? When you come to that point where you can't find anything, just know I'm here. Then, if you trust me, you will ask me. But you know what? When you're climbing that wall, you're so wrapped up in how you want to be successful without me.
Yeah, I know that feeling as well. Yes.
Good. Now that's one. The other is that standing there, I can see what you should be doing, but I need to find the courage to hold back. Because the journey is you are the one climbing the wall, not me. This is like a teacher. The child says, ma'am, I don't know how to add 2 plus 2. Okay, do one thing. Write 2. Okay, wrote. Write plus. Okay. Add another 2. 2 plus 2. Put an equal to sign. Now put 4 there. How will the teacher ever build trust in the student's ability?
This way can never.
If I'm going to give you the answers constantly, how is trust going to develop? I have to first accept that you are the one climbing the wall and that you are capable of doing something.
I get that point. And whatever you're saying, reaching that place is difficult.
Hello, you didn't come to this course because it was easy.
Yeah. Hello, what?
You didn't join this course because it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell you it was going to be easy. My job is to create disequilibrium, remember?
Yeah.
My primary function. Okay, good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for hanging in there, guys. I'm assuming, Avni, you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Soumya?
Yeah.
Okay. Monica, okay? Madhvi, okay? Che? And Bharat, Bharat is Bharat. Can't hear, can't see. I hope your connectivity is okay, Bharat. Okay, right.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Good night. Bye bye. Thank you.